Hey, what's going on? It's the Political Brown Kid here. And what I want to say is hopefully this will be real quick, but this is some of the things that I think because I honestly believe that we're in a bad space. And this just isn't in America, this is happening all over the world. And I do want to commend certain countries for taking actions against certain things. You look at China, China has certain actions like they have. Programs or things in place that are trying to uphold, you know, um, you know, the value of men and, protecting certain men's rights so that, you don't have men, softening up. I hate using the M word and the F word these words are over. I hate, and I'm gonna have to say it here. I don't want to say it because people probably don't know what the M word is or the F word or even the A word, but I am ultra tired. I'm not a big person on trends. I'm not a person on trends, fads, or any of that type stuff. So I try to shy away. I guess I could be contrarian. Maybe you could say that, but I hate the word feminism. I hate the word masculinity. I hate the word alpha and beta. I hate those. To me, they're just dumb, and everyone wants to throw them around. Once again, I'm back in the dating market. I'm in my 40s. I'm back on the dating scene. And when you watch these dating platforms, even the women have adopted these words. I don't look at men's profiles, so I can't tell you what men are saying on their profiles. But I hate seeing people that say, I want to live in my femininity. Okay, fine. I don't need to hear all that. If I'm looking at you and I'm looking at your pictures, I can tell what type of woman that you are. And if you describe yourself perfectly, I can kind of just figure out where you're going. I hate when people say, I want to live in my femininity or I want a masculine male who's an alpha male. I don't want to bait. I hate those just buzz. People just love using in buzzword. I hate the word narcissist. I think it's overrun and overused. So I'm just throwing these things out there. But when you look at these other countries are trying to fight to uphold. They're trying to give women leeway. They're not trying to keep women barefoot and pregnant, but they're also trying to say, well, look, the traditional value system did have some merit to it. And some of these other countries are trying to uphold that. You see Africa trying to uphold certain values. And you have America always trying to push open their freedom and acceptance of everything, whether it's LGBTQ everything, trans everything, feminism everything. They're just trying to push their values on all of their allies, and not just allies, but even other countries. And these other countries are starting to try and push back on that. And I do respect those other countries for doing that. So if one of the two things I would like to see done, and I think I saw a legislation that may be introduced on the first one, and I'm going to say, and I've been saying this for years now, and I think that I just saw an article that said that there's legislation that may be introduced to do this, is that I think that they need to get rid of that catch-all divorce category of basically, it's just basically irreconcilable differences. That doesn't even make sense. If you made a commitment to love and honor for richer or poor in sickness and in health, there's no such thing as just irreconcilable differences. That's not a standard for divorce. I think that we need to get back to not letting people just have these quick 30-day divorces, these quick I think even certain areas, I think the District of Columbia is actually letting people get divorced in one day, 24 hours. And, I think maybe California, I don't know if California is doing it as well, but remember, you used to have to be separated for a whole year. I think some places you had to do counseling. All of that stuff is bypassed and now you see that it's really worked to the benefit of women because they're like, we don't want to be in these relationships anymore. We make our own money. We can bang who we want to bang. There's no more stigma of me being a freak in the streets, because remember back in the day when I was growing up, and I'm Gen X in my 40s, I'm just Gen X. I'm almost a millennial. I'm just Gen X. But when you look at it, back in the day, when a girl had, when she was involved in those particular activities, she was considered all kind of names. And now, and that's why a lot of women ran off to college. A lot of guys, guys didn't really run off to college like women did. Guys were more prevalent to stay home and attend the local college than go away, because guys had the liberty and freedom of being able to say, hey, look, there was no stigma to a guy bringing a girl in his basement. Your parents, your mom and your dad was proud. They were popping their collar if a guy brought a young girl home and he escorted her down into the basement. Parents didn't have a problem with that. That's my boy. They, were proud, I guess, that he was heterosexual. Nothing against LGBTQ. I'm just telling people how it is. But, guys, your parents just were proud of that moment. And women couldn't do the same. They couldn't reciprocate. At least I will say this in the black community. I think in the white community, and I can't judge white communities, but from what I've heard, I think girls had a little bit more freedom to bring guys through their crib, through the house. And I'm not trying to say they could do activities in the house, but I think it's a little bit more freer. But those women, white women, could still be in the same category. So I really can't speak too much on that. I'm just kind of making an assumption here. But it definitely within our black community that I can speak on, girls just couldn't bring guys in the house like that. They definitely couldn't bring them in the room. So when a young female, once she graduated high school, if she had the ability to go away to college, she was going to go away, because that was the time when she could do whatever she wanted to do and do her thing without, having to do it in a car or in the bushes. She could be free to have someone in her bed and do things comfortably. That's why you see a lot of women go off. A lot of guys, we don't mind. We'll live at home and we'll live in the basement for 30, 40 years because we're treated differently. But I kind of digress. Getting back on topic, but you see these no contest divorces or these irreconcilable differences because these women just want out. You don't have there needs to be stricter process back in place to say, hey, look, if you want a divorce, you need to go through these steps. There needs to be 12 months where y'all try to work it out. We're not going to allow you out of this relationship so easily. Second thing I would like to see too is that there should not be any more alimony for either party, not for the husband nor for the wife. The only reason I think that one should get alimony is if, under the circumstance, is that number one, they did not walk away. They were not the one that walked away, but they were the one who was abandoned. And it has to be a twofold situation, not just was abandoned, but there was a previous situation where they can prove that in the relationship, the other spouse was the breadwinner and they were the homemaker. So it has to be those two criteria put in place. So basically it's saying that, for example, and, I'll use the traditional role because traditionally the woman stayed at home and raised the kids. She took care of the household. So you would have a situation where you had a wife, a homemaker staying home, taking care of the kids. And then her husband just comes through the door, says, I'm going to the store to get some milk, and never comes back. And he runs off with some other woman and just abandons the family. Under that circumstances, yes, she should get alimony because he abandoned the household. And there was prior where he was supporting the family. I would like to see that gotten rid of because once again, a lot of people would start rethinking whether they're going to run away. And then alimony should end once you get a new partner. If you can prove that the other person can prove that, hey, you're on your own and you got a little live-in boyfriend or you got a boyfriend that's supporting you, your alimony should be cut off at that point in time because now you have another partner taken care of. The other thing that I think should be standard is DNA test. Once children are born, it should be done in the hospital when the child is born, DNA, to show that, hey, you are the legal, the biological father, or you are not. Those things should be put in place. And also, too, I think that, in regards to people having children out of wedlock, it should not be if you had a child out of wedlock, the other person, the male, should not be responsible, or even a female. Neither party should be, or particularly the male, should not be responsible for child support. if you had a child out of wedlock, because people should not be having children out of wedlock. If you have a child out of wedlock, there should be some type of an agreement, a written contractual agreement. If you want child support, there should be a written contractual agreement that this person and I decided to have a child out of wedlock, but this person has agreed that if things go wrong, they will support the child until the child turns 18. The reason why I'm saying that is this: we're giving too much freedom to people, and particularly women. So women are going to be mad at me, but this is just the truth. We're giving too much freedom to people to just say, I can have unprotected sex because, it's my body, it's my choice. I want to choose to, be able to have unprotected sex and, get the feeling and do what I do and pop a Plan B pill. And then if I get pregnant, it should be my choice to have the child or not. But you don't see that the father has a choice in that, because if she chooses to keep it, he may say, well, I don't want to keep it. We're not committed to each other. Yeah, both of them made a mistake. Both of them should have been having protection. But if she has a choice to keep the child or not keep the child, he should have a choice to support the child or not support the child. And then if you add in that additional layer of the legal aspect that he is not entitled, because you had a child out of wedlock, to not give you support for this child, that would probably make a lot of people rethink having unprotected sex or having children out of wedlock. Because we need to get back to just a different realm, a better realm, because society is not going in a good place, in my personal opinion. A lot of people may think that it's going great, but it is not. But that's just my thoughts. This is the Political Brown Kid. I like to hear what everyone else has to say. Please drop some comments in. And also, if you like this video, please hit the like button. It definitely helps motivate me to continue making videos. And it also helps with the YouTube algorithm. So once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. I'm out.